Hello, mate.
Hello, how's it going?
Number 20.
We finally made it. Number 20. We are here.
This is a good one, though, isn't it?
This is a good one. Yes,
Long
absolutely.
time coming.
Yeah, we've been back and forth a couple of times, haven't we? But we're pleased to say we've got Jamie Jewitt.
Jamie Jewitt
is joining us for episode 20, and he's going to tell us everything.
Go. How are you, mate?
Everything. Tell your life story. Well, thanks for having me, boys. It's been awesome. Like I said, it's a shame I couldn't get up and do this in person, but obviously we know busy lives and that. But it's awesome that we can do this. We were just actually having a little brief rant about technology off screen, weren't we? But this is one of the good uses for it.
This is one of the good uses for technology. Yeah, absolutely.
Podcast.
Yeah, we'll focus on the positive stuff. We won't mention the other stuff.
Well, doesn't take me long to slip into despair. Don't worry.
We're only 30 seconds in. Jeez. But look, I mean, it's great to have you on board. I think you kind of came across some of our reels on Instagram because they were hitting home. Yeah,
right,
absolutely. Yeah, literally.
It was really early on,
It was
mate.
very early on. And it was great to kind of reach out and have a bit of back and forth at the time. But for the people that don't know, just give us a bit of a brief overview as to, I guess, why those reels were hitting home for yourself, Jamie.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know me, the only reason anyone would is because of a silly TV show that I met my wife on. And was responsible for my now lovely family and 3 kids, and that was Love Island, but that was about 8 years ago, so a bit of a dinosaur on that front. But we have 3 kids. We've got a 4-year-old called Nell, 3.5-year-old called Nora. Nell's literally 5 actually, into about 2 weeks, and a 1.5-year-old Brody, who's an absolute terror. And Nora, our middle child, has been diagnosed with autism, and it's been a journey of sort of, I guess, discovery and self-discovery and everything in between. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys, and probably not your audience either, that it's just a weird thing to wrap your head around. It's something that you sort of take one day at a time. And she's an amazing, unbelievable little girl. And already I've heard this cliche that autism teaches you a lot, and she has taught us so much already. But social media obviously is my job, and I spend a lot of time on there, and obviously naturally I was looking at things related to autism, looking for comfort, for support, for information, all of those things. And one of your reels came across my homepage one day, and I really do think it was one of the very first reels you put out.
It might have been.
First week or something.
I'm trying to think back when we started talking.
It went quite nuts. Yeah, and it just really helped. And you're one of many different accounts that I found pretty quickly. And for all of my, like I said, this was all off camera, but for the downsides of social media, one of the upsides is finding communities and finding information, and the algorithm can show you things like that. And you're one of the few accounts that have been really, really helpful to myself and to my wife and to the whole journey, really. So yeah, that's how I found you. And yeah, I'm glad to sit and chat to you guys now.
It was so early on, we still didn't have a fucking clue how the kind of social media algorithm and that worked. And I think it was you who texted me, and he was like, "Fuck, Jamie Jewitt's just followed us.
What's going on?
What? How's he found us?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it's cool as fuck." So it was like, this is cool. We're obviously making a difference.
I think I shouted to you, "I've got a text."
Yes, you did. Got a text. I was like,
how many times have you heard that? Come on, that must be horrendous. Just walking down anywhere and someone shouts, "I've got a text."
Mate, like I said, back when we first came out, that was one of the.
Oh yeah.
But now it's brilliant because I fly under the radar. I've gone all grey and old and stuff now. I've shaved today.
Oh,
so
nice.
Youthful, but yeah, I got kids aged, didn't they? So no one recognises us anymore.
Definitely.
So it's nice.
You said,
radar. But that's a good one.
You said a minute ago about and yeah, it is a cliche, but it's true. You said about the whole self-discovery. You learn an absolute shitload, don't you, as a parent? What your limits are, and what you're capable of, and what you really struggle with. How have you coped with the discovery of everything that was going on? Was it tough?
That's a really hard question, because I want to be honest and say I haven't found any of it tough, so to speak. Emotional, yeah, definitely. But I wouldn't say I've found it difficult. I understand that's probably to come in our situation. At the moment, she's so calm and sweet and smiley and happy. Her development's very, very behind. She got held back in the baby room at nursery till she was 3, just because she literally could do the bare minimum. And it's fascinating because what she can do, which is so far ahead of her capabilities elsewhere, is she can, like, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. She'll do it, and she'll like. There's about probably 50 now nursery rhymes she knows the signs to. But in terms of trying to get her to do sign language, even one piece, that hasn't happened until, I would say, very, very recently. She started to wave goodbye and little things like that. But the songs and the sign language was there quite early on. But like I said, other than that, she's been such an easy child because she's so content and happy. She definitely does struggle with certain situations more so than the others do. She can shut off in, I wouldn't even say busy, it's hard to pinpoint what it was, but she can sort of shut down and look quite disheveled in certain situations. She sort of like really sort of withdraws. But outside of that, the other things I know that are quite common with autism in terms of like meltdowns and things like that haven't really started. Don't get me wrong, we're seeing the signs of what it may manifest itself as later on, but at the moment she's a very, very timid and calm and smiley little girl, and it's just more of a developmental delay and rocking and other things that are there. So that's why I can't say it's tough, but in terms of emotional, it's been like really emotional, but not, and again, this is another cliche, I've heard it a million times, but it's the truth, not in a sad way all the time. We knew, bizarrely, when she was 4 or 5 months, like, it was just something in her eyes. And just by looking, it's the weirdest thing to think back and dwell on now, like her face as a baby, but it wasn't really anything else of her physical body. It was literally just looking in her eyes. There was something. And we kind of talked about it at little moments. And then as the developmental delays became more obvious, it just like it's kind of like we just slowly knew, but we knew early, and it was just slowly confirmed. And yeah, it's and to this day, like I said, it just comes and goes in waves. Really, you sit and you think about what the future holds, and those moments can be really emotional, but they can be really optimistic. They can be really, and I'd say, sorry to I end up going off on tangents, but talking about what they can teach you, it's those moments where I sit and think about her future. They're like the moments where you stop and realize the way you think about a lot of things is unnecessary. The way you expect a lot of things, the way you plan or worry or catastrophize, all of these different things that sometimes would creep in when I'm thinking about her future. Like even the lesson of, if she's smiling and she's like she is now and she's like that till she's 50 and she lives with us, I just couldn't care less. So why are you fucking worrying? Like what? Like why think about it? Why expect? Why set yourself up for disappointment and all that? But even then, you feel conflicted by saying disappointment. It's a strong word, and you feel like guilty for saying that because you won't be disappointed. You've just got so many expectations from a societal level on your own life that you end up sort of projecting onto them as a baby, and there's no need for it. So it kind of like. It just, again, the lessons start thick and fast, and you're like...
You've got to face them, and I think that's something, we've talked about it previously, is that getting your head round what your expectation was for them, which is almost a little bit, we've talked about, it can be a little bit selfish. You expect them to be a certain way, they're going to grow up and do this, you'll be able to do this with them. And it's almost like you've got to, how to describe it? You've almost got to like recalibrate yourself and just go, wait, let's hang on a minute. Let's just put that to one side and let's just focus on the little one Take it one day at a time. You know, rather than trying to set them up to be this X, Y, Z. And like you say, if it's a case that, like with Lydia, again, similar sort of thing. She's 4.5. If she stays like she is for the rest of her life, that's it. There's no point me going, I want to do this, I want to do that. I've gone through those stages early on. I've gone through those stages going, why me, woe me, and all this sort of stuff. Why am I getting dealt this shit hand? And then you look at it, and you're going, well, that's actually pretty fucking shit to think about your own child.
Yeah, and you look at your own kid and you say, fucking happy they are.
Yeah.
Like, you look at them and you're like, kid couldn't give a shit. He's so happy. He's
she's got something I haven't got. I'll tell you that much. Like, you know, if I could be that happy day in, day out. So again, like, it's all of these conflicting. You argue with yourself, like that's how it's felt. Like, she's just at the moment just smiling through life, singing Baby Shark in the mirror 8 hours a day, and loves it. And there's me fucking imploding internally. When I'm like, she's probably looking at me going, fucking chill out, mate. Do you know what I mean?
And at that age,
it's all good, mate. It might not happen.
Like, Selena said this to me a couple of times, is like, with Lydia, she's just innocent. There's no conception of like anything else. She's not tainted by anything. She's just literally almost like, you know, with autism, they're pure. In a weird sort of sense. They haven't been damaged or tarnished by this world or anything like that.
And it would be understandable if you were disappointed about their life trajectory, if they wanted relationships, if they wanted to get married, if they wanted to get a job and they were disappointed because they couldn't have any of those things, yeah, fine. But they don't. They have no concept of any of those things. And
disappointment doesn't exist if you're not aware of the disappointment.
No, exactly.
So, yeah, again, it's projection, and it's what I found myself doing that a lot of the time. And I'd say now, I just every day is a little bit of excitement, and like the best way I thought about this, and funny enough, it's a weird analogy, but it's something I talked about in our podcast. But I think it is important because it helped me a lot. And I used to train a friend of mine who was really big, really heavy guy, and I used to take him down the gym. I took him down for like 6 months or so. One of my best friends from school, and he really was depressed and wanted to lose some weight. And I remember having these conversations with him about going into the gym and how silly he felt, and going for a run and going for a walk and all of these and everything in between. And I used to sort of explain it like the effort principle. I can't remember where I'd heard this, but if you're walking a mile and you're out of breath and struggling, your knees hurt at the end of that mile because of how much effort you've had to put in to walk slowly a mile, marathon runner could run past you, barely breathing, or he could be just as out of breath and his knees hurt and he's done 25 miles. You've both put in the same amount of effort. You should both be just as proud. And relative to your capabilities, you smashed it. And it really does work when you think about the capabilities of my daughter and your kids relative to other people. Their own capabilities within that, if they're happy and they're hitting milestones and they're progressing, I don't give a fuck what the capabilities manifest themselves as. I'll be just as proud of them, and so will everybody else be. And that's kind of the biggest shift, where you start to look at and go, there's so much more of the world I could look at like that, from that same lens. And until now, I haven't really had to sit and fully consider that. And now it's something I think about every day, which again, it's another big lesson. So
I think early on,
whatever the future holds, we're ready.
Is there? We've talked about it. I think
God,
when Thomas was born, one of your mates was having a kid at the same time.
My mate was outside the hospital. I was walking back in, and I was like, "Hello, buddy. What you?" And I was like, "No way. Is she having the baby?" He was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Great." Got these two kids, like a day between them. I thought this would be awesome, and I had him constantly as this like checkpoint of where my kid wasn't. But then other things happen, and for the first kind of 2 years, it was like, oh shit, like where's this trajectory going to end up? And then now he does things, and I'm like the other day you said about waving. So like I walked out the house the other day, he was sat on the stairs with his mum eating pancakes. I was going out to work, and I went, bye Thomas, and he went, and I was like, and we both just looked at each other. Neither of us said anything. We're just staring at each other, and we're like, you just fucking wave. You're staring, and you're like, amazing. I'm skipping out the door. Now, obviously, I went, hey. So then I'm going, Thomas, Thomas. And he's like, yeah, get fucked. I'm doing it once, I ain't doing it again.
Yeah, I'm not a performing monkey.
Yeah.
You've had it.
Piss off, Dad.
See you in 3 months.
But you do, like, that's a little thing. And I'm skipping out the door. I'm like, wicked. My kids just waved at me.
But these are like, we call them like, other people go, well, what you getting so joyful about it? But to us, these small wins are actually massive wins that nobody else would experience, and nobody else would truly understand that joy that you get from something so small.
Mate, she could wave at me like she did. I mean, like, again, she's only just started waving recently, and again, it was exactly the same feeling. It was when she's waving goodbye to the nursery every time we picked her up. That's where it started, and like exactly like you said, the joy. First, it was disbelief, and I always get told off for swearing in the nursery because I've got a potty mouth. But I said the same thing. I went, "Fucking hell, she just waved," and I was, "Oh, sorry." But again, I honestly couldn't care less if some little 3-year-old had done some fucking triple backflip cartwheel into a somersault, and then their dad went, "Oh yeah, but look what mine did." I'll be like, "I'm probably happier than you, mate." So whatevs. Do you know what I mean? But well done. Yeah, it's all good. But it is just relative. Like that is just how. And
you're not
feel.
Exaggerating. You probably were more proud of that wave.
No. Yeah, because it's like, and again, I feel guilty saying this, but it's a little more unexpected. Maybe not than a triple backflip somersault as a 3-year-old. Maybe not. That's a bit of a bad comparison, but you know what I mean. From some big milestone that's more expected, because, like we said, you can think about tomorrow as much as you want, but you have absolutely no guarantees and absolutely no way of knowing. Whereas with a neurotypical child at 2 or 3 years old, you pretty much know that the words are going to start coming and the sentences are going to start coming until you've seen the signs, had a diagnosis, or got something else that's giving you them signals. I've got 2 other kids. I've felt that. I know how that normal path feels, and you do know that it's coming, and you know roughly when. That's why there's all of these YouTube videos going, 9 months old, they should be doing this, and Miss Rachel telling you where your baby should be, and I've been there, and it's true. But it's the unexpected that amplifies the feelings when you've got, a neurodivergent child. And again, like I said, it probably does feel better. It really does. So there's so many upsides.
I guess you and Camilla have talked about the future. You kind of touched upon it there, that if it's the case that she spends the rest of your lives with you, so be it. You've already kind of got your head around that and accepted it.
That's that. And if I can attribute that sort of comfort to anything, it would genuinely be following podcasts like yours, following accounts like Stories About Autism, you and me, these other little communities of people that I've found that have just really well depicted or represented what their life is like at them stages, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And it's just allowed me to go, that's okay. I'm more than fine with that, because it's like with anything. Like it's an emotional roller coaster. Emotional, it's not pain. It's an emotional roller coaster. Life is, and again, it's just like any other journey. And there's some amazing moments that I see on these pages. There's some unbelievable stories, and just like we touched on, these little moments making you so happy, these lessons that she's already taught me at 3.5. Like, if there's just more of that to come, with the usual in anyone's life downsides here and there, like, what the fuck am I worried about? Do you know what I mean? I'm not. There's you just cross the bridge when it comes to it. Really.
It's funny because, like, obviously we're doing this and the community's kind of growing pretty rapidly, but like, it just reminded me then, we're talking about Stories About Autism. Like, again, you and me as well, like, both of them just amazing accounts. It was a Stories About Autism account. I think that was probably the thing that gave me the green light. It was one of his boys outside in a paddling pool, and his granddad was coming in.
Is that the same to you? Is this saying us what changed your view on this paddling pool?
Is that what it was for you?
That's mental.
Okay. That was it. Yeah, so it was when his granddad came out and poured that warm water in, and he and I was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. I can do it. It gave me the green light to be like, I can talk about this now.
This is the same clip. Bloody hell, this has gone weird. This is the same clip that Selena showed me.
No, I'll get fucked.
Was it? Yeah, he's out in the back garden in the swim. Yeah,
but it's just a beautiful clip.
Exactly. He just pours some warm water into the cold pool,
and he
and it's just
that gratitude he showed towards his granddad.
He literally he looks at him happy and acknowledges him with
Yeah.
the head lean. That's crazy. Look, that it kind of confirms everything we said about social media and the positive sides of it, and how I found your reel and how we're even talking. These, there's that's amazing. But you're right, that exact reel made me. It just destroyed me. I was in tears, not sad tears by any stretch of the imagination. That was the first time I saw my little girl's brain, for lack of a better way of saying it, in an older body, to the point that I recognised it like it was her. It was so bizarre. Her calm, like withdrawn, sort of just enjoying the cold pool, the sensory, and then the way he acknowledged and thanked and looked happy, but didn't do or say anything much. Like that's literally what it is day in, day out with her. And then it becomes your own little language that you speak to her in. And it's funny, it leads you on to the whole non-verbal conversation, or pre-verbal, however you prefer that. Like, why do you put so much emphasis on that? Like, why have I been... Don't get me wrong, that day would be phenomenal. And again, talking about another account, Tom speaking in stories about autism, destroys me every time when I see them texts. I'm just thinking of that day. So yeah, obviously it would be emotional. It would be an enormous milestone. Even if she sent me a gift by accident, I'd be like, fucking brilliant. Even if it's a fucking finger emoji, I'll be like, I'll take it. That would probably be the most accurate to represent how she was feeling, to be honest. No, but it is another thing. It's like knowing that we have as a family already got a method of communication with her. We don't do, is it Makaton cards? We're not there yet, but we have a method of communication. And if that doesn't change, it's fine. It's working. We're happy. So why am I so worried about the verbal thing? I would say, actually, if I was to say one reason why I'm probably a little bit worried is just for her sake. Do you know what I mean? I'd love her to be able to communicate.
I've said from day dot, like, if he never speaks, fine. And I think when I first said it, I think my wife was like, shut up, you don't mean that. And I was like, no, as long as you could communicate effectively in the way he wants to do it, why do I give a shit if he says words or not? It isn't important. If it's not important to him, and that's kind of what's happened with my kind of learning process. It used to be what's important to me, and then I'm getting better at it now. Like, is it important to him? No. Okay, then it's not important to me.
I think the communication thing for us was, like, early on, it was so she could, when they're upset and they're ill, and with a non-verbal autistic child, you were going through a checklist of, is it a headache? Is it sore throat? Is it ears? Is it a sore tummy? You're just checking everything off that you possibly can, and you just be able to. It'd just be nice if they just went like that. And you're like, right, okay, it's you feel that you got a headache, or the pointing. It was stuff like that, but over time you start picking up. It's almost like a household language just between the parents and the child. You just understand how they want to communicate. You understand their needs. Selena's like in tune with her again, maybe like the telepathy tapes, but she's a little bit like, oh, that whinge means this, that cry means that. Oh, it's that time of the day, so she obviously wants this, and you're just like, right, okay, we're getting through this, aren't we? It's not as bad as we thought it was going to be maybe 2 years ago. Yeah,
I've seen a change in you just in the short time we've been doing this podcast. Your expectations for Lydia. I mean, even when did was it March we first started talking?
End of March we did the Paris run.
Okay.
I think it was probably May that we did the first recording.
Right. So okay. So like, you were very much like low expectations, but to almost protecting yourself.
Oh, there was self-preservation.
You were very much so, and just in this short space of time, and Jamie, you'll be able to attest to this, like how quickly things can happen, that are unexpected, which makes it even better. Like she's doing things that she went blown you away.
I was at work the other day, and Selena messaged me going, "You never guess what she's done. We've got a board near her play centre." Which has got like a bottle of water in there, a bottle of milk, crisps, apple. It's been there for about 4 months collecting dust, and we thought we'd just keep it there. She walked in one day, and she just went straight up to the board, pulled the bottle of water off, and just went to Selena, that. And we're like, she's like messaging me and going, "You never guess what she's done. She's just done this."
Yeah.
And we thought she wasn't paying any attention there. We were probably just too lazy to move the board. But she's just gone bang. She's not done it since. But it's one of those things where, going back to what we were saying before, like virtual high fives everywhere. Everyone's just like dancing around. It's just like, shit, man. She's asked for a bottle of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely been a journey.
Those moments are hilarious, aren't they? Because I swear sometimes she understands everything and it's just having a wind up. Like, do you know what I mean? When they do something once and then they're like, they stop. So when Nora was, I get this wrong and my memory's so bad. I want to say around 10, 11 months. She said, Mama or Dada. So that's how bad it is. She said one of those two. We've got a video of it, funny enough, and never did it again. To this day has never done it again. But I mean that's a weird thing that's kind of eerie now, because that's the first time I've consciously heard her voice that's not a cry or a moan or something like that. It's the only other time you'll hear her voice apart from that time on this video where she said that word. So it's really bizarre. But ever since then, there's loads of little moments. Again, walking, she took her first steps and then didn't do it for ages after that. It's like she's on the wind up all the time. She's like, look how happy you are, not doing it again for a while. So
yeah, we had Thomas said diamond when he was like maybe like
just out of the blue.
Out of the blue, he said diamond around the same. He was probably like maybe 13, 14 months old, and it was a song on the TV, and it was like a diamond, can you? And he just went diamond, and we just both looked at each other, and we were like, and it was clear as day, like. Clear as day. There was nobody could go, well, was it? Maybe it was this, maybe it was just a noise or a babble. It was like, nah, he actually said it. And he hasn't said anything since. It's just, I don't think it's that with non-verbal, it's not that they can't speak. There's something else going on there. Because they've done it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
It's like a disconnect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the wiring's just kind of just not quite. Yeah.
So like people have said they understand what you're saying, but they can't express or get the words.
That's how it feels.
Like, it's like there's a disconnect with the mouth and the body sometimes. Like, go put your shoes on. They know what you want to do, but they just can't.
Exactly. And it's a little like that distinction between talking and communicating. They're not, one is they are both the same thing, but you can do, you don't have to talk to communicate. And why would they, if they've settled into this other form of communication or they're more comfortable doing? It's the same thing about people with like their walking milestones. It's like when you can fly across the floor on your ass and shuffle a bit quicker than you can walk, why would you try walking? Like, and I've had that with my other kids. I'm like, when are you going to walk? And then like Brody was just so good at like flying around, crawling that, but it's like traveling is not just walking. Like you can do things in different ways, and it does seem to me a lot of the time that they're very, very aware she possibly can do it, but will do it when she wants to. And you're just sat there going, "Oh, I'm just gonna wait."
Yeah, it is mad. And there's so much going on. Again, and this is the other thing. Like very early on, it's easy to like not write your kids off, but have low expectations, and. Like now, I keep saying it. I keep going, right, that's it. I'm done writing him off. He's capable of so much more. And then maybe nothing happens for a few months, and you kind of go, okay, maybe this is it. And then he fucking does something else. Like, how long ago did we spell car on the top of his bed?
Cool, that was in the summer, wasn't it?
A couple of months ago?
I think it's like 2 months ago.
About 2 months ago, we're like, sod it. He knows the words. He's seen them on his picture cards. Let's spell car and see if he knows what it means. And we write it out on it. And he's staring at it. He's looking at it. And me and her are looking at each other like, I don't know, penny ain't dropped here. And we're like, okay, not to worry. It's fine. Next day, he's got his letters, spelt the word car out on the floor. And we could see it on the CCTV. From his bedroom, he spelt the word car out, and his leg. It's funny because the camera you could see from his room is pointing out onto the landing, and all you can see is his little kid running back and forth trying to find his mum because he's written it, and he's like, I need to go tell mum that I've written this word on the floor. Since then, mate, he is spelling everything. Like if he sees a word, he's like, I'm fucking spelling it. Elephant. Cool, let's go. What's it? E, and he just spelling shit all the time. So, and again, a lot of these words he's spelling. He hasn't recently learnt them. He's been learning them for like 2 years, watching his programs.
They're in
exactly
there.
That, mate. They're all in his head, and he's like, "Oh, I can make those words with these letters, man." And like the day after the car thing, he's spelling fox and car, dog, van. He's like, little shit, you've got a lot going on, and that's a thing. It's mad. And I think that's like, especially for people early in the journey, it's like, don't write your kids off. And I'm saying it because I did. Like these kids have got so much more potential than we can sometimes give them credit for.
Yeah, definitely.
That's massive, and that is, I think. Look, the way I always look at that, and I think that there's another thing that I've settled into now. I was just like you guys in terms of, well, I would say for self-preservational purposes, I did think the worst. I was just like, and I used to do that about a lot of things, not being cynical, just going, look, if you're prepared for the worst, then everything's a bonus after that, and that's the way I look at it. But when you're talking about a kid, you realise that that's probably not the healthiest way for your own brain to sort of look at things. But you just saying that does remind me, like, everybody understands that when you know something's going to happen, or when there's a schedule you can follow, some people are comfortable with it, but let's face it, comfort's a little bit boring. And you, with a neurodivergent kid, one that you don't know what's coming and when, I mean, there's a big positive to that. Like, there's a load of surprise you're in for. Definitely not boring. Like you said, we touched on it earlier. Not only is there surprise, all of the joyous moments are amplified because you don't know when it's fucking coming. It's like going through a haunted house. If you knew every ghost was going to jump out, it wouldn't be very fucking scary, would it? So it's like, it's the same thing, isn't it? Like, it's exciting. Not that I'm scared of her, but you know what I mean? In a positive way.
When did you get the diagnosis then? You did say earlier. How old was she?
Oh, God. Time has absolutely flown. She was... I want to say she was just turning 3. I'll have to confirm this with the missus. And it's not only my bad memory, it's the fact that life has been on overdrive recently. So I feel like the last 2 years have just fucking flown by. Nora's, 3.5, Nell turning 5's blowing my mind. Like, it's gone so quick. But I do believe she was very young. I think she was still... Yeah, she was young. But again, as we said earlier, we knew really early on we could just tell. And then the missus went through the right to choose pathway, and luckily enough, like after a while on it, on the waiting list, we went and got seen, and she got the diagnosis. And at the time, I think she was, like I said, almost 3. Sounds about right in my head. We were told what to expect, and potentially she'll be non-verbal based on some of her stims, her understanding of basic things. All the tests that they did, they thought she would be quite, I don't know how they've worded it, but quite far on the spectrum, if you know what I mean, quite on the severer end. Profound, yeah. And that's kind of it. But they also did obviously caveat that with, it's very, very difficult, especially at this young age. It's very difficult to accurately predict anything. The one thing we were always told, and we've known, and I did touch on this earlier, that we're really, really lucky. She's unbelievably happy. She's very, very social. She has her moments, but we never really know what causes those. There's a couple of sensory things we know trigger that she doesn't like, but in terms of being around large crowds, doesn't always put her off. Sometimes she loves it, loves new people, is always smiling, always listening, always like engaged. And they said obviously they're all amazing signs in terms of her potentially being able to learn. Going to a dedicated school or a specialised school would mean that because she interacts with teachers and doesn't shut off and withdraw, then a much, much higher chance that she's going to take in all the activities and things like that. And Cam pointed out recently, like, again, touching on me being quite cynical about her potential capabilities up until recently, where I've sort of, changed my outlook on a lot of things. I'd always considered her to be a long way away from using cards and understanding signs and being able to give us indications of things in that way. But she made a good point, because obviously she's from quite young has been able to do actions to songs, and she loves it. She looks at herself in the mirror when she does it. She just, like, all day, from the moment she wakes up to the moment she goes to bed, she'll find a mirror and she'll go through 50 different songs. And you're obviously not singing them. It doesn't have to be on. She's playing it in her head, and she's just doing Baby Shark and Incy Wincy Spider and all of this.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. But a duck came on the telly the other day, Cam said, and before the song even started playing, she did the quack, quack, quack from 5 little ducks went swimming one day. So again, putting 2 and 2 together, I'm like, that's not far from recognising cards and using that to pick what she... So it was just one of the moments where I realised my own pessimistic thinking and the hole I dug myself into had made me oblivious to what was right in front of me, and that is that she's really close to doing that sort of stuff. Even if she isn't, I don't give a shit. But that was like, I'm like, how did I?
Isn't that also the Makaton for it as well for duck? I think that's the Makaton. For duck
yeah,
as well.
Possibly. But like I said, it's like,
I don't know any Makaton.
No, I don't know any of this. But again, like, don't get me wrong, life's busy and that. But we kind of haven't gone down there because we just haven't thought that she's... And again, in practice, we have had people come and try and teach her things like this. She obviously does her speech and language homestays and all this sort of stuff. We've been told that she's not there yet. But seeing something like that, it just makes you realise you've got to curb yourself a little bit, because you do get lost in your own pessimism, if you want to call it that, and kind of ignore what's right in front of you. And that's that there's loads of development. It's just not in a typical way that you kind of recognise sometimes. So, but again, goes back to the excitement of it.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. Like Makaton, we haven't learnt Makaton just because that isn't the route he's gone down. And as parents, all you can do is just, and you can just tell, you get a feel for it. Like, you've done it there because you haven't thought Makaton, but then you've seen her do that, and you're like, this could do Makaton or cards.
That was his
like, this
first
could go
connection,
either way.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's just a case of just being pretty chill with it and just seeing where they take you, not where you want to take them. And I don't think we're ever going to do Makaton. He's got his AAC device now. Again, something we never thought he'd use. He's got this electronic device to talk. I'll tell you what was weird. You said about hearing her voice on that video from years ago. I had it the other day. I've never, apart from him saying diamond when he was really little, what's really strange is hearing a computerized voice on an AAC saying, like, I want some tarts. It's still weird because yeah, not those kind of tarts.
Oh, okay, no worries. I thought, go on.
Get in there, lad.
Boy, chip on the old block.
You're
Go on.
6. But
Get me back to school.
Hearing any kind of voice requesting something from him is even jarring in itself.
Well, you're instantly going
and again,
to,
these are all...
that's now his voice. So
that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it must be funny and weird. It all in. Yeah, I can imagine. I can really imagine that moment where you're like, that now is your voice, and like when I look, do you look at him now and that's all you hear? Like you just hear.
He just sounds like, what's his name?
Stephen Hawking.
Yes, yeah. Stephen Hawking. Sounds like a I don't know, like a 15-year-old Stephen Hawking. Yeah, it's bizarre. I might just change it.
I still reckon 11 Labs change it.
Go on 11 Labs and get Morgan Freeman.
Just for a laugh, exactly. You can change it to like women.
See if he notices as well.
Yeah, you
change it to like a really flamboyant female voice. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, he wouldn't give a shit. I mean, Mrs. will just be like, "What the fuck was that?"
He'll be laughing in the corner. He'll be like, "It's the little things, darling. I'm just having a laugh."
Just a German accent.
A German accent.
Hans Gruber from Die Hard.
Really angry German.
Ho ho ho.
How did I mean, she's not going to speak for herself, but like, how did Cam, compared to you, how did she deal with the diagnosis and stuff? Were you guys just kind of on par with it, or did you react differently?
Right. About as accurately as I think I can get this, I would say, for the most part, we were right on par about expectations, managing disappointment, or obviously understanding those feelings and getting to the place, everything we've spoken about. But I think what she would say was more of a struggle was, and this just goes into our dynamic as parents and what was going on at the time. I was incredibly busy. I was like, throughout her pregnancy with Nora and then post the birth, I had 2 businesses that I'd built one of them I was like 15, 16 hours a day working on. It was a global thing. I was like, so I was, so all of the things that she was saying about what was different about Nora, I kind of didn't really understand, but you can imagine like a lot of the sleeplessness, a lot of the feeding, a lot of the milestones, she was much more tuned into the differences between her and what was then Nell that she knew previously. So I think the worry and the anxiety and the emotion hit her a lot more but purely for the fact because she was so much more present for all of that. Yeah. So in terms of our outlook on it, we're definitely the same now. And again, we just love her to bits and don't care where this goes. And I think that's the same for every, I would imagine it's the same journey every single neurodivergent parent goes through. It's that journey to acceptance. We both did that, I'd probably say, in the same amount of time. But I would definitely say, and I'm not speaking for her here, I would assume she felt a little bit more of the anxiety, the worry, and then the heartache during figuring out firsthand just how delayed she was. So
a discovery period.
It was a lot more.
My wife was the same. She was definitely in that, felt alone in it a little bit.
In the trenches.
I mean, even... Oh, mate, big time. Like she just... and I'd come back and I was kind of in denial at first. That I was just like, he's just being a bit awkward, isn't he? He's just a bit of an awkward baby. He'd be fine.
It's the natural thing where men try and sort of, laugh it off a little bit, or like you said, it's probably denial, probably a bit of a defence thing.
Yeah.
And two, I would say I was probably guilty of it as well, worrying because thinking she's an overthinker, thinking she's overthinking and she's like catastrophizing. It's not that bad, and you're doing that. Let's face it. When Nora was 1.5, I'm thinking, stop comparing her to other kids. It's that whole thing where you think she's just in her own. This does, I think, talk about me in tangents. This does remind me a lot of the way I see social media and the difficulties of it. Like forgivably, if that's even the right way to say that, I forgive people for their comments like this, but it's the ones where like, oh, don't worry, my baby didn't do this till they were 15 months, and now they're like blah blah blah, and I'm thinking, not the same situation at all. But thank you, and I know your heart's in the right place. I was probably, if I'm hand on heart honest, guilty of doing the exact same thing to her at that time. Is what I probably think I did. And you got to think, being as wrapped around a project that as I was at the time, for the good of everyone at that moment, it was a big thing. That was a big thing for all of us. When it came out of that, I was kind of probably didn't have the energy all the time to sit and delve into it, so it was probably quicker for me to think, oh, it's not happening, and you're just panicking over nothing, kind of thing. So there was definitely some times where she went through worse of it than me. So I think that's where our disconnect would be throughout that journey, if I'm honest.
Yeah. When you got the official diagnosis, was it just in your mind? Was it just kind of a rubber stamping process, or did it hit you? Or like for me personally, I've kind of mentioned it before. I was so accepted that Lydia was autistic, and she got it start of this year. So she just turned 4 years old, and we got the official diagnosis. We got the phone call, and I just said to you, it was almost like an inconvenience in my day having to have this phone call, because I knew she was autistic, and it was just like, right, we've confirmed she is.
Really?
And then like,
shock.
Selena was very much like, yeah, we know that. But then I remember it was on a Friday, but then I said, as the weekend went on, I could see her, it started to affect her mood. It was starting to hit home that it was a little bit autistic, that the official diagnosis is here, even though we knew it, but we just kind of, I think, over that kind of 48 hours, we accepted it differently. I was like, yes, nothing new, is it? What were you guys like?
You explained it exactly as it was. It's like thinking about that whole journey of doubting yourself, being in denial, thinking you're just comparing. You go through all of that to the point where even at the early age of, like I said, she was not even 3, I don't believe she was, that you get a diagnosis from people that have gone through school and studied this and, the experts, quote unquote. And you're at a point where you go, I told you so. It's almost like, tell me something I don't know. Like, I didn't need the education and all this. I didn't need this. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's literally just a piece of. It's a formality to allow me to now prove to other people that she needs the support that we already knew she needed. It was that's how it was. Literally, it was just such an, for lack of a better term, anticlimax. It was, it was like, So, but again, I guess, I ain't got nothing else to say on that. But yeah, you're right. It's exactly as it was.
How obviously you've got a pretty decent following, it's fair to say, and like quite recently, you guys on your podcast, you kind of started sharing your story a little bit on there. What was the feedback like? Because were people quite surprised because you hadn't really talked about it openly that much before, or?
Do you know what? There's a couple of things I'll say on this. First thing is, it's quite healing to be able to tell the story properly and let people know a lot of more context around the few little posts that they'd seen. And it does boil down to, again, talking about these comments, people really, really meaning well.
Yeah.
But we knew it was much more severe than what most of the people were thinking it was. And it's not a point scoring thing or anything. It's not like you need to even let them know that. But in terms of being quite in the public eye where people are quite engaged in your lives, you get a lot of opinions and a lot of people reaching out for help. And in your bad moments, a message of support saying, don't worry, my child did this and now like they're 5 and don't shut up. When you're in a bad place, which there have been some, that angers you. And it's completely illogical and unjustified to be angry about a message like that. But it's just what sometimes happens. And so from that standpoint, to kind of just lay the story out there where people are like, oh, okay, I get it more. So now their interactions will be more accurate to represent our actual situation. That was it was a load off of our shoulders. And a good example of that, funny enough, and how fickle social media is and how fickle the public eye is for an example, like as a whole, we announced Nora's diagnosis with an image and it had a song over it that bizarrely just made me and Cam cry. Like it was a Ludovico Einaudi song. He's a pianist.
Yeah.
Know it. We listened to this song and it like, there's no lyrics in this song. It was just Nora in a song. It was fucking bizarre. And we were both in the car. And
it got both of you.
I played it to Cam saying, and I'm going to write a song over this music with her because she's an amazing poet, Cam is. And it's just something we want to do because of this moment. But I heard this music and then I said to Cam, like, just this weirdly reminded me of Nora, made me really emotional. I just want to see what you think of it. It was driving on the way to nursery to drop the kids off. And I played it and we both started crying. It was so fucking weird. And
that's weird.
And it still gets me to this day. And it's like weirdly somber, but with an undertone of optimism. It's like weird, this song, what it did to me. But it's just her personality in a song. Anyway, another bloody Jamie tangent. We announced her diagnosis on Instagram. And the main reason for announcing it is, again, when you have hundreds of comments, you kind of want to marry up reality with people's understanding for everyone's sake. But also, we had a lot of negative comments. You never photograph Nora. You never let her get involved in stuff. Why is she always this? It's really horrible to leave a child out. Because naturally, she wasn't in all the videos of me and Nell out. We have Fun Fridays, me and Nell, every Friday since she's existed, where I've taken her out for Daddy-Daughter Day. Nora can't come because she can't do the things that Nell does, and it takes the attention away from Nell. And we do other things with Nora, but she's not in them videos with Nell. And I used to get DM after DM about leaving Nora out. So as you can imagine, a big part of why we had to announce it, it's not anybody's business, and it's not something that we made public for fucking clout or anything like that. We announced it because it, one, married up people's understanding with the reality and let the comments become a bit more accurate and less infuriating sometimes. And two, to address things like that. And then what happened was 5 or 6 newspapers wrote about the fact that when we announced it, people were saying, oh, you know, you're announcing this to everyone. Like, what if she doesn't want it announced? What if this? What if that? And we got slammed and written about for that. And it was one of them moments where you're like, do you know what? Fuck everyone. Like, it was like one of them times where you sit there and you think, if you lot just knew how you get pushed and pulled and prodded and fucking, and all, it feels like your life is damage control at some stage. That's how it felt bad. But that was in the thick of, like, back then I wasn't.
I'm quite a tolerant person.
Yeah. Back then I wasn't as understanding as I am now about her situation.
That would piss me off.
Yeah. And you can imagine, like I said, this is rewinding a year and a half when I was probably in my lowest, or I was still in the depths of that exploration and turning into the accepting person I am of our situation now, and happy. Like, that was in that pretty hard phase, like where she was really behind and she still wasn't walking and all this sort of like. So you can imagine piling that on top, and now all of a sudden you're a bad parent.
You don't need that shit on top of it.
You're an influencer looking for clout and using your autistic daughter, and you just think, oh my.
on what plan? It's bizarre that, and it's the nature of being in the public eye, I guess. But what is it about someone in the public eye decides to open up about their child being autistic? That's bad parenting. But
we do it.
We do it. The BBC. The BBC. Sorry, Thomas.
Listen,
tough shit. But it's, the BBC did a documentary yesterday when parents were talking about, or a couple of days ago, when parents are talking about their autistic kids. I don't see
it's well done for spreading awareness.
It's something about being like, having a celebrity status and being in the public eye. That's different. You've got different rules to live by.
Do you know what I if I'm gonna be not political, diplomatic about it, actually, this is my honest thoughts. I'm a reality star. It's not like I'm fucking famous for, saving lives or fucking going to the moon or whatever it is. Like, I haven't done anything impressive. And I think there is just with this influx of reality TV making people famous overnight, I think it comes with a little lack of credibility or a lack of respect in terms of people in the public eye. And I get it, because there's a lot of people out there that sort of do, for their sins, chase clout a little bit and, play the game a little bit. And
we've seen them do various programs.
100%. Yeah. So I get it, and I'm fine with it. And like I said, it wasn't really at the time that I was surprised. It was just a case of how to manage what was happening. But yeah, I must say that the thing that's hardest about it is when newspapers get involved, because from everything that's happened and everything you thought would have changed, them fuckers don't. They never will.
Yeah.
And that, to me, last tangent. I truly believe.
No, do it. It's fine.
I truly believe the way we represent ourselves on social media these days, in terms of the way we speak to each other, the way we glorify ourselves, the way we rip other people down, was all learned from mainstream media. That's the way we have learned to listen to stories, to share stories, to gossip. All of that came from the top down, from media. Yeah. If you look through history,
you've got to sensationalize it.
Exactly. And then social media came about, and people went on there and went, oh, what do I do? A few people started posting normal pics. Someone figured out when you fucking lie through your teeth, sensationalize things or glorify things or get your tits out or whatever the fuck it is, all of a sudden you'll blow up. People learn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't blow up when I got my tits out.
Have you seen that?
I was really disappointed, actually.
Speaking of that, I'm going to send you guys this. There's this influencer. He's a footballer and he's got man boobs. And he goes, you might have seen him. I'm going to send you it. It's hilarious.
I think I have.
Oh, it's so funny.
Send it to me. Yeah.
He plays into it. It's really, really funny. I'll send it to you guys.
I have seen it.
Yeah, mate, it's hilarious. But like I said, we have just landed on a platform and subliminally used all of the lessons that we learned from a pretty shitty fucking industry about how to misrepresent ourselves all in the name of fame and clout. Yeah. So, and I am kind of coming off a reality TV show. We are kind of the poster kids for that. Do you know what I mean? In a general sense. So it doesn't bother me. I do expect it. But that one in particular, because it's about a kid who's completely unaware of it, thank God, it makes you a lot more defensive. And I'm telling you, some of the trolling and the DMs, like, bring the worst kind of violence out in my mind. Like, I've had her called fucking, retard and downy and all of this shit, like, in DMs, like, after
we've had this incident.
Oh, and
it was a couple of weeks ago. Someone said to me, literally in a park.
I saw this. What did you
saw that?
Did you give him one?
I can't confirm or deny.
Yeah, no, good.
But he did have to get up off the floor.
Yeah, good. He slipped. It was icy that day, wasn't it?
I think it was quite slippery. Yeah.
Listen,
put some more bark down on those kids' playgrounds, please.
Yeah, I mean, without going down that rabbit hole about social media, I do, and I don't mind saying this publicly now. Bring back the right hand, mate. I'm sorry, but you can't. People need to learn again. I hate the way the world is going, where people think.
Tyson said that, didn't he? Mike Tyson said that.
Yeah, we said that because the problem is there's no old school consequences anymore, so people just feel emboldened to walk around and say whatever they like.
Does this, like, with being in the public eye for you and Cam, like, obviously, are you kind of now a bit more? Is there something else for you to worry about with your daughter as she gets older? That you are going to have idiots, or people will have a vested interest in what's going on with her, but maybe sometimes not from a positive aspect.
Yeah, I think with our life up to this point and everything forward, you kind of just accept that that's going to come with every single part of your life, for good and for bad. There's positives and negatives. There's times where you feel guilty. There's times where you wonder what if you're doing the right thing. There's times where you're trying to weigh up, should I be even posting her on there? Should I? And again, like a small example of that was announcing her. There's always going to be pros and cons to all this, but the bottom line is there will always be a sort of way where we are going to be publicised in a sense, and that does boil down to newspapers. Like anything, even after this long, probably only because we've lasted and we've got kids, that still means that we're a story, and we always kind of will be. From that show, for good and bad. And again, you're just juggling the opportunity that it gives us and the kids, financially and everything else, and the right thing to do. But then also the elephant in the room is there actually a way out of it? So should you just learn to manage it? Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them things. Yeah. But with Nora, sort of to wrap all of this into like a similar kind of lesson, it's like all of these things are stressful, they're depressing at times, they're positive at times, but they're complicated. And it is one of them things where you look at her and go, part of me just hopes you do stay blissfully ignorant and smile through life, because do you know what I mean? It is, and that's a really cynical thing to say, but especially the way the world's going. It's
a cruel world, and we can deal with it, can't we? We're capable. We're big and ugly enough to deal with it. But I mean, with them, you've always got to be there to protect them, because they might not get to the stage where they are able to shake it off.
And it does sort of touch on what you said about them living at home with you for the rest of their lives. When you have kids, for one, you're sort of, or at least mine did. My bubble shrunk to the size of my house, and my happiness was all confined within that house. My job and everything was to sustain my daily life, but everything was in that house and on the weekends. And it's kind of how I want to keep things. So regardless of where anything ends up, like, again, with her, you just kind of think, as long as your bubble's as small as it can be, we will be there for you.
Yeah.
And do you know what?
And the siblings.
The scariest part of it, now I've said that, the scariest part of this whole, which really gets me upset and emotional, because I actually hadn't thought about this until recently. The thing that scares the life out of me is the day that we're not here.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's ours.
That's ours.
I can live with everything else. I can deal with having to dress a grown ass man and shave him and all that stuff. And
you'll
same
enjoy it
till
till the day you die. Like,
yeah.
That
the biggest fear is not her relying on us for the rest of her life. And I've said to you, it sounds extremely cold, possibly cruel. I've played situations in my head where I go, is it better for me to die before she goes, or is it better for her to pass away before I die, knowing that she's been looked after for the entirety of her life and it's been as good as it possibly has? And then I flick between the two, and then I'm like, well, if I'm not there, no one can love a child like their parents, their mum and dad. So if she goes into the care system, it's just people, it's a job for them, it's not love. To a certain degree, you'll get people that really enjoy their work, but it won't be the same. And this is the thing that I can, as we go to the start of the conversation, I can take day at a time, celebrate the small wins. There's always that thing in the back of my mind, which is what's going to happen.
Even, I mean, and she won't mind us saying it, like, the account Ewan and me, like, he's obviously got to the point where he's really difficult to handle, you know, and they've obviously, as a brother and sister, they've had like, and again, it's very similar to stories about Autism Up video, watching them growing up together, in all the posts, and then kind of more recently getting to the point where, you know, he's getting really difficult to manage. Like that's a possibility for a lot of families like us that don't know what's coming. We don't know what's around the corner. And it's tough, and you know, typical parents don't have to worry about that stuff at all. And again, like you just said, you started thinking about it recently. Not all parents of neurodivergent kids think about it from the start. Someday it's just one day you wake up and go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
you know, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've not managed to find a positive spin on or an optimistic spin on, because I don't believe there is one, and it's tough and it's horrible to go down that road, but again, it's not constructive, and it's something that you have to compartmentalize for now. But if she stays at this level of dependence, then that is not something I will allow, or I will have to, but it's something I won't be able to accept right up until the moment I take my last breath. I'm not gonna, there's not, do you know what, I guess, and this is probably there'll be people that disagree with this. All I can do is hope that Brody and Nell are equipped and able and capable and willing and close to Nora as adults, which of course they will be, to put that at ease. But then there's the guilt of the expectation of that, but like I said, there's no easy way out of it, and that is probably what I would say is the hardest thing to get to come to terms with in this whole journey.
Yeah, we've talked about that before with you know, you having to put an expectation on siblings. It doesn't fit. There's no right way of putting it. It's like you don't want to need to put an expectation on, but subconsciously in the back of your mind you are going, please guys, please look after your little brother, your little sister. But again, you hope that they build a kind of relationship where it won't need to be requested, it will just be a given because they'll want to do it and they'll love doing it. But yeah, it's you worry about resentment building up because, you know, it is an expectation. There's so many mixed feelings that you get about the whole subject. It's really difficult.
Yeah. You can really go down
a
horrible little rabbit warren if you devote too much time. It's just one of those things that, it pops into my head at random times, like when I'm driving or I'm in the supermarket buying size 9 nappies. It
I
just
think
pops into my mind.
I think about it way too
yeah,
much.
and then I just go, fuck off. I've got stuff to do.
Can I like that?
So,
that
yeah.
just really drives home when I said about conflicting feelings and stuff and arguing with yourself. Like that is one of the moments, like I said, and it does with me. When it pops in my head, I know it makes me upset. There's no way that I sit and think about it where I don't end up getting upset. So why are you fucking thinking about it? Like what? Like it's literally not. It's the very definition of not constructive. It's not helping. It's
unless you could figure out a way to not die, which you can't.
Exactly. Which it's like
Exactly,
the unanswerable question.
Yeah,
and it's the road that goes nowhere, and like it just makes me laugh because the thought will come in, and then I can just fucking see a little version of me in there, fucking headlocking it and just trying to get it out of my brain. Like,
Yeah.
fuck out of it.
We've got shit to do.
Simpson thing where he's like wrestling with himself in his head. Shut up! Stop thinking about it.
Yeah, definitely. What have your mates been like then about Nora and autism? Are they being supportive, or do they understand? Or
It's been amazing. Yeah, I've got a couple of good mates with diagnosed kids. Much different. The more like what's the correct terminology for it? Like the functioning and outwardly normal. Yeah, I hate the word normal. Obviously, I get slammed for saying that, but you know, outwardly normal. But yeah, they just love her to death. Like it is what it is. I think they see that we're doing well now. We've accepted it, and they just take her for what she is. And like I said, she is genuinely just such a fucking delight. Like she really is. So yeah, they've all been great. And I must admit, like the amount of my friends with kids, there's quite a few of them, but the ones with kids are so busy, like us, that we barely see them. We've got a couple of families that we see. Then you start making friends with the nursery group, and then you start making friends with the new parents at school. So, yeah, life is a little bit. You feel like a bit of a hermit these days, but yeah, for the most part, anyone that's met Nora, and my friends that have seen her through that journey, are just going through the same thing we are. Really, at first they sort of didn't really think much of it. Think, oh no, you're probably worrying too much, and now it's just like, oh yeah, who cares? Like, what of it? Like, she's amazing. She's great. She's gonna do fine, and you know, if we're happy, they're happy, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Mate, that's cool. Listen, man, how long have we been on?
I ain't got a clue.
We've been chatting shit for a while.
yeah, it's been a while, isn't it? That's good.
That's good, mate. Listen, mate, it was a long time coming. Obviously, we tried to do it a while ago, but you know, life gets in the way, doesn't it? But thank you for coming on, mate. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, I think we say it's a dadcast, but it's not just dads. That we get a lot of mums who message us and they say, "Look, I've just sent this clip to the other half, and he thought he was alone. He was living in a bubble, and no one would understand what it was like." And then just hearing like us talk, hearing guests like you, other dads coming on board, and just saying it as it is.
Yeah.
It just strikes a chord with different people. Yeah, it does, and it helps them come to terms with it.
And when we did hint that you were coming on, people got very excited.
Look, I must say it. One, thanks for chatting. But like I alluded to at the beginning, the way I found you was because you're genuinely helping a lot of people. And I think another thing I don't think I said about when we posted about our story, from the little fragments of conversations we've had on our own podcast, when we've talked about autism, I've noticed that there is an absolute dying need for it because of the way those clips, compared to anything else we spoke about, went out there. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't know what's lacking in terms of support, or, you know, like, everyone has different opinions on all those things. But one thing is, people doing what you're doing, what Stories About Autism are doing, what all these other pages are doing, is so fucking helpful. And genuinely, you didn't invite me on as a guest out the blue. I found you because you helped first. So just keep doing what you're doing, boys, because, like I said, it is probably bizarre to you that it blew up so quick, but it just confirms that need that I noticed when we posted. So you guys are smashing it. I hope your community enjoyed the conversation, and, you know, genuinely, I hope everyone out there who's in our position enjoys the beautiful, crazy, unexpected ride that we're all on, and doesn't, you know, doesn't dwell on the tough times, because everything else is just
scream if you want to go faster. Yeah. Yeah. I've been screaming quite a bit, trust me. In my car, just screaming as I drive along. Yeah. It's good, man. No, we appreciate it. And I think, like you say, it's like you when you were talking about it with Cam, it blew up. I think people just want to hear now just frank, honest, real life experiences. Not we're done with the clinical side of things. We've had to go through that. We've spoken to the experts. We've had that kind of, you know, they'll hit whatever their potential is and all this sort of stuff. You just want to hear somebody that you can relate to go, you're going to get through this. You'll have a shit time here. You'll have unexpected highs here. But most of all, you'll still love your kid, and nothing will change from that side of things. And people just want to be able to relate to others and go, right, if they can do it,
everything's going to be all right.
I can do it.
It's going to be okay.
And then what tends to happen, we're noticing it now as Lydia's getting older. I was coming to you for advice, going, what happens now? Because Thomas is 2 years older. You were passing it down. And I've noticed now that she's 4.5, like, people are asking us, what's the next steps here? You just kind of pass your experience down. That's how this community grows, and we help each other. It's not through kind of necessarily reading books and so forth like that. It's just getting out there and speaking to real people.
The biggest analogy is when we're talking about the diagnosis, isn't it? Like, we don't want science and diagnoses and pieces of paper and stuff like that. We want human stories. That's where I've got all of our benefit from, and that's what you guys are doing. So genuinely, again, thanks to you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Mate, that was 20. How the fuck have we done 20 episodes?
That's a milestone, boys.
Surprise.
It is, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Ideal for number 20.
That's good.
Right.
We finally got there.
Right.
Thank you, mate. Much appreciated, mate. And I'll see you soon.